Our special guest today famously kept running through that tunnel after scoring a 48-yard touchdown in the Cotton Bowl. Quote, "It wasn't my fault they built that stadium where there was a tunnel in the end zone that I scored in. It wasn't my fault that the doors were open. Don't blame me. You can blame the architects."
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC and host of Postgame on the Hurricanes Radio Network. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the #1 Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. We put the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment. Putting in the work, that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. On this loaded episode, we'll talk about what it used to take and what it hopefully takes again to survive a week on the Greentree practice fields to get you ready for game day. Want to get a breakdown on Malachi Toney from a guy who played the receiver position at Miami. And before we bring on our very special guest, let me bring on our equally special guest because this is Tuesday, right? Truth Teller Tuesday. Bruce, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to have Randall back on the show. He's a buddy of mine, man. I really like him. I followed his career, and we got some good things to talk about. There he is.
Randall Thrill Hill.
What's going on, fellas?
Thrill. So, Randall, we've been talking a lot lately about that infamous 1991 Cotton Bowl. And after, we had Robert Bailey on last week who put on that knockout hit on Chris Samuels on the very first play of the game, then I'm thinking we got to get Randall Thrill Hill on. You score the touchdown. You never stop running through the tunnel. You got the finger guns blazing after that. I mean, Randall, that Cotton Bowl game, did that inspire more NCAA rule changes than any other game in college football history?
So I've been told that, the things that we did in the Cotton Bowl, it was infamous and it caused some problems with the NCAA and did inspire some rule changes. But, so is life. University of Miami always sets the standard, so might as well set the rules too.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I remember because I was talking to you guys during the week, and the shooters that was really aimed at the sheriff, right? That's who.
Not anyone specifically.
That's what that was about.
No, not anyone specifically, but you're in Texas, so when you're in Texas, you think about young guns. You're thinking about the Wild Wild West. So you might as well just fall in the same characteristics and have a little bit of fun with it.
Now, is that a true story? Because it might have been on the 30 for 30. But did you say to Craig Erickson, "I haven't caught a ball all game. Throw me the damn ball"?
Yeah. So we always had something to say in the huddle. Receivers. That's how receivers are. We're kind of temperamental, right? So. You're always going to ask for the ball. Hey, I'm open. Even when a receiver is always going to tell a quarterback that he's open. So, that's par for the course. It happens in the NFL. It happens in college. I don't think it happens as much in high school, but it's going to happen in the huddle because receivers, we have to get that ball. We have to have fun. Sometimes when we're flanked out, people kind of forget about us. So you always got to tell the quarterback that, hey, I'm open.
So, and then you had that moment, and then you had the moment against Notre Dame. Was that in the same season when you caught that 3rd and 41 or whatever it was?
43, right?
Yeah, what? 3rd and 43. When people change it, it's funny.
I was at the game, but yeah. Okay.
So Joe Rose says that, man, this thing gets longer and longer every time people ask you. 3rd and 60. No, so that was the Notre Dame game. That was 1980. In the
right, the year before.
Yes. So 2 separate years, 2 separate plays, and on some ratings, those 2 plays are considered to be some of the most, memorable plays in University of Miami history.
So,
and hold on real quick, that 89 Notre Dame game, wasn't that the one that ended the series? Like Miami and Notre Dame didn't play regularly. That was the last one, right?
No, that was not the last one. The last one, so we did go and played Notre Dame in 90. I'm sorry, in 90. But that was in South Bend, Indiana. We came up short. The fans rushed the field. I remember Pat Terrell, coming up to me because fans would get in your face, yelling and screaming, and Pat kind of just grabbed me and said, "Hey, bro, just get off the field because we don't want cause any problem." He actually is a good guy. He was my official host when I visited Notre Dame coming out of high school.
Ooh.
So I was going to follow up on the 3rd and 43. So Craig threw the ball in the Cotton Bowl to you, and in this game, I thought you told me that Dennis called a draw and you said no or something. What happened in the huddle that he threw you that ball?
I
thought you told me that he called the draw. You said no.
Yeah, there was always, like I said, there's always discussions in the huddle,
Right.
like very quick discussions. The quarterback has to not only call the plays, but he also has to keep receivers kind of in check, because we're eager to get the ball down the field. We want the ball thrown to us. So Craig always, say, listen, don't worry about it. We'll get it done. Just like the Cotton Bowl and just like 3rd and 43.
I love it. We're
So
joined here by Randall.
It was supposed to be a draw, and you changed it?
Well, again, like I said, we had these conversations in the huddle, and we're going to leave it like that.
Yeah, he's not going to say, like, Craig, if you don't throw me the ball, I'm going to kill you after the game.
No, Bruce.
No, Bruce. Man. I know Bruce and I have known Randall Thrill-Hill for a long time. Randall, we used to do pregame shows together. This was during the Al Golden years. So things were not that great during that particular time. Randall, how much pride do you take now? I mean, Miami got very close this past season. They've had double-digit wins these past couple of years. Like, we were watching this team for 2 decades, by and large, disappoint us. How do you feel now to see the U more relevant than they've been in a very long time?
Oh, I'm glad to see them relevant, but that's still not suffice. And I'm pretty sure Mario Cristobal is not happy with the outcome. You're only going to be happy when you put that ring on, when you can say that you are a champion, when you can have those parades, going down, downtown Miami. I'm glad to see them doing well, but again, you're never satisfied with, even if you do win a national championship, the very next day you're thinking about, okay, we got to get better. And I think if you think about the history of the University of Miami and people like Michael Jordan and Dan Marino, you're never really satisfied with one outing. You always want to come back and do better, regardless of how you've played. You can be undefeated, and then the very next day, after winning everything and putting the ring on, you're coming back and saying, you know what, I had to get better for next year, and that is the mark of a true athlete.
Yeah, the one year you won the title, the following season, Florida State was ranked #1, and you had just beaten them. Mm-hmm. And that was the game. I think you shut them out 31-0.
Yeah, that was in the Orange Bowl. That was we consider that as being the Florida being disrespectful. As a matter of fact, they made a video.
Yeah, they made a video,
preseason video. We didn't take too kindly to that, especially when you have to play us the opening game in the 305 in the Orange Bowl. So. Don't disrespect us at home.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal for them. They really got their heads handed to them. All right. Well, I think you may not be satisfied, but I think we all feel a sense of it's about time. We are nationally relevant again, which we hadn't been for years. Winning the title is a big deal, but at least I feel a ton better than I had in the last 20-something years.
It's a feel-good thing for the fans, but again, as an athlete, you think about a Muhammad Ali, you think about a Michael Jordan, you think about a Dan Marino, you think about a Peyton Manning. I guarantee you those guys would not be happy with a second place finish. Second place is the first loser, so why brag about it? The fans, I get, I understand, but when you interview someone like me. And even I guarantee you, if you had Mario Cristobal on, he's gonna, probably, co-sign what I'm saying. Yeah, it's all good, and I'm glad the fans are energized again. But as a team, as a player, as a coach, as an athlete, you're not satisfied unless you are the champion. Think about it. there's only one person at the top of the mantle during the Olympics. And I'm pretty sure that the U.S. hockey team would be very upset if they again came second place and not being a champion after 34 years or something like that. So
45,
again,
45, 46,
45,
46.
Yeah. So again, putting the ring on and being crowned as champion is the ultimate goal. The fans can, and I'm glad the fans do support and will support the University of Miami and all that is positive coming out of the University of Miami. But again, we respect the fans. We respect 305. We respect 954 786. And the best way to show respect is to bring home a championship.
Well, we're joined here by legendary Miami Hurricanes receiver Randall Thrill Hill. When we come back, I know Bruce and I want to pick Thrill's brain on Malachi Toney, who looks like a legend in the making right now at the U. You want to keep it locked right here. We're only getting started on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. This is Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. Jay Lucas, Miami Hurricanes basketball coach, keeps moving that game forward. 21 wins. He's got Miami close to being locks for the NCAA tournament, but a huge game coming up on the road late tonight at Florida State. But Coach Lucas, who had a completely new roster this season, has done a tremendous job. It reminds us of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's the extra work off the court, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and I never quit. We put that same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Folks, we're also proudly brought to you by FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered at a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Now, not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you for making Locked On Canes your first listen. And if you're an everydayer, make your status official by joining the Everydayer Club. You get exclusive episodes of a show I do called the Canes Colada. You get exclusive newsletters, one-on-one texting with me, so many other benefits. Go to lockedoncanes.supercast.com or click the links in the show notes below to become a Locked On Canes Everydayer Club member today. Hit up that all-access tier. We're joined, Bruce Warner and I, by Randall Thrill Hill. All right, so Randall, one of the highlights of this past season at Miami was the emergence of true freshman receiver Malachi Toney. He was just 17 years old for like the first month and a half of the season, 1,200 plus receiving yards, 10 receiving touchdowns. He scores touchdowns through the air, on the ground, catching passes. What was your take on Malachi Toney's first year at Miami, and how much better can this young man get moving forward?
Yeah, so he had a great year, and he was leaps above what he should have been. As a true freshman, he was showing his maturity very early at the University of Miami, and in his career. With that being said, you have to be careful, in my opinion, when you have that type of success as a young freshman. Continue to do the things that have gotten you where you are, but you have to work even harder now, because now people are going to game plan you. So nobody game planned him before, even though he started showing film, well, I guess positive plays in film early on in the year. But now people are going to be locked on. He's going to see more double coverage. He's going to see more over the top coverage. So he's going to have to work even harder to get open. And with that being said, also don't forget you're going to have a new quarterback too. So you're going to have to work on the dynamics, in my opinion, to continue to. Well, he's going to have to work on the dynamics, and the coaching staff is going to have to work on the dynamics to continue to have productive season with him, because it's going to be harder. And that's just the nature of college football.
Yeah, well, he may or may not get all the stats he had, guys, because look at all the receivers he's got. He's got the Barcade kid who comes here from Duke with Mensa. You've got a bunch of Josh Moore and Dre Jacobs and new guys and young kids. So the ball's going to get spread around, and he might not have that many catches, but he, as a decoy, or your game plan for him as a decoy, if he gets covered over the top, Randall, there's going to be guys open too. So it could help. I said last year at the end, didn't I, Alex? Use him as a decoy, because when you watch the film, when he moves, half the defense moves. So, and they did. In fact, they did one play. They handed him the ball. He threw it back to Beck for a touchdown on the other side of the field. So he's very multidimensional. He's very dangerous. But yeah, he's going to have to work harder. I think he's got to get a little bigger and stronger. Do you agree?
So I'm not, because of his size, I'm not big on the so you have to work out. You have to make sure your ligaments and your joints are well tied together, right? But his superpower, right, is going to be his speed and quickness. And when you add a lot of extra weight, or if you add too much weight to a receiver with his build and his size, it's going to take away from his superpower. Mm-hmm. And you just don't want that to happen. Yeah, you got to make sure your joints are well put together. Eating properly, staying out of trouble. I don't believe in any alcohol at all, and definitely no illegal drugs. But again, you have to. He needs to continue to work on his quickness, size. If you think about, I'm just not one of those guys that is big on size, because you cannot. There is no. There's nothing different. There's nothing better than having a faster, quicker receiver. So if you continue to work on that quickness in and out of the cuts, running your routes very crisp, I think you'll be fine. But of course, like I said, get in the weight room, do what you got to do, but don't overdo it. I saw myself personally go from a 4.3 to a 4.4, a high 4.4, because I started working out more. As a matter of fact, I think I still have the bench press record at the University of Miami for receivers.
Oh, wow.
But with that being said, I got a bench press record, but I got to get back to, Speedy Gonzalez. I got to get back to being fast, because that's what got me to where I was. So continue to work out, but don't worry too much about size and getting big.
Yeah,
well, what was your record? Do you remember?
Think about that. I didn't think he's got to blow up, but I think he's got to maybe gain 6 or 7 pounds of muscle.
No, absolutely not. No. So no, absolutely not. For what?
I think he's too skinny.
No, for what?
He's got to maintain the quickness, though. I agree with
Randall.
Randall.
You guys make it look like if he gains 4 pounds, he's going to go do a 4.7. No.
I'm
not saying that.
Speaking as a former first-round draft pick, no, absolutely not. I have yet to see any professional scout say, okay, a fast guy needs to gain weight. Think about even like Lamar Thomas, who's a legend at the University of Miami, wasn't big. Hell, Michael Irvin used to joke around about he would come in and he would go like this. He said, I don't need all those muscles. I just need to be fast and quick. He would joke around about it. So, like I said, get in the weight room, do what you got to do, but and you will gain weight as you get older and as you mature, because it's just a natural progression of your body. So let it come naturally. But no, I don't really think he needs to gain too much weight. I don't care if it's a pound or two. Stay quick, stay fast, because believe it or not, when you gain a couple of pounds here, a couple of pounds there, it really does take away from your quickness and your speed. Again, plyometrics is good. Making sure those joints are well put together, but not too much weight, even a pound or two.
Hey, do you remember what was your bench record at Miami?
It was, I want to say like 370 or 365 or something like that. It still should be up on the board.
I'll have to look for that. Yeah.
Unless someone broke it. And then also and it's funny because when I remember when I started gaining, I gained a couple of pounds and I lost some speed. because I went out and by myself and with one of the coaches, and I ran a 40, and it was like a 4.5, and I was like, no. So I really worked hard to get back down to a faster speed, and ended up running track. And I know right now, currently, I have the University of Miami indoor 55-meter record because I was able to get back down with my speed. Yeah.
That's awesome. We're joined here by Randall Thrill Hill. Randall, you're looking at the program now, and, a guy you played with, Mario Cristobal, now in charge, and he's, I think he's doing a really good job of not only embracing the modern era of college football and everything that comes with that, but also trying to maintain that old school spirit of Miami and all the punishment you get on the Greentree practice fields. I mean, what can you say about the job Mario's doing right now? Because it wasn't a snap of a finger. Like, it wasn't like Curt Cignetti that in 1 year transformed Indiana. It took us a few years, but clearly Mario is overhauling the culture.
Yeah. So in my opinion, like the two greatest football coaches that have ever come through the University of Miami are Jimmy Johnson and Howard Schnellenberger. So nothing happens overnight, right? So it is a process. And, when you think about Jimmy Johnson and the 86 season, playing against Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl, it kind of reminds me of the ups and downs that University of Miami went through this year. I support Mario 110%. I support the program 110%. I've made sure that I've, reached out. These conversations that I have with Mario, just his text message conversations are just between me and him. But I always, try to reach out to him, whether they win or lose after a game, send him a message, my thoughts. And he always responds to me. It's still, even though he's the head coach, it's still a brotherhood that the University of Miami former players have. It's like our own little mafia, right? And I guess the president of the university, who's a big fan of a lot of ours, he kind of sees how we've stuck together, and he supports the program 110% too. So with that being said, I think and it's different now because of the whole transfer portal. I mean, it's just you have to recruit your own players every single year. So there's always going to be new pieces that you're going to bring in. There's going to be some pieces that leave. I'll even say this. Think about it. There were a couple of pieces that left University of Miami and went and played for SMU. So you have to deal with it because now they're going to have some of the insight on the thought process of the University of Miami. But with that being said, no excuses. Go out and win all your games. Play hard-nosed Hurricane football. And show everyone in South Florida that, and I hate to say it because they're not back yet, because you're not back until you win a national championship.
I agree.
You have to win a national championship. But the University of Miami is working hard to get back to where they should be.
They're relevant. That's the word I use. They're we weren't for a long time. We are now.
Absolutely.
That's what I think.
Well, all right. Well, when we come back, I want to dig a little deeper with Randall Hill on what the Greentree practice fields were like in the 80s, early 90s, because, man, and I know Bruce was out there for so many of those practices back in the day. You want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Folks, workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inboxes overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed, Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours just made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on Locked On Canes. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen. We're joined by legendary Miami Hurricanes receiver Randall Thrill Hill. So, Randall, I know Mario keeps his practices about as competitive as you possibly can in 2026. Like, it's been described as bare-knuckle out there on Greentree. But, they're not allowed to practice the way you guys used to practice. What was it like Monday through Friday out there when you were a Cane?
So let's just say it like this. I think it's a little bit more civilized now than the way we practice. So, picture this. My very first practice, my very first scrimmage at the University of Miami. And don't forget, I came in as a cornerback. I didn't play wide receiver until I got to the University of Miami. And I'm watching practice, watching the upperclassmen, and we're going through a scrimmage. And you had legendary Canes, Benny Blades and Brian Blades. And Brian played receiver, Benny Blades played free safety. And I saw Benny Blades come off the hash and hit his brother and laid him out. Literally laid him out. And they called the ambulance and they had to put Brian on a stretcher and, with the whole neck brace and everything. And, they wheel him off the field and Benny yells over at him, "You'll be okay." And then he called him an eggshell. And I'm like, oh. And then Brian shot him a birdie. That's what it was. Hell, I remember in '88 practicing doing a tropical depression.
Oh, man.
I will never forget it. But that's what the practices were like. I remember having practices, and you're talking about the humidity being well over 85% and the temperature being well over, 88 degrees. And us not practicing the way Jimmy Johnson wanted us to practice and him literally starting practice all over again from scratch. This is what it used to be like on Greentree practice field. Now, it's either you're going to man up or you're going to cower it out, right? So, and as Hurricanes, we grabbed the Bulls by the horn, and we won games and had fun, and there was a brotherhood that we had on the practice field. Now, things have changed. You actually have a little dome, and they can go inside and they can practice, and they have a little bit of AC. So they get away with murder now because you go inside a little bit. But Mario is still keeping that tempo up, and because he knows what it's like to practice hard and practice like a winner. Mario has been at several different universities that have won and done extremely well. So he has set the tone and set the tempo as to what the University of Miami is going to be, and it's kind of like the old school University of Miami.
Yeah, and you know what else is different? You don't have those tubs. You have real rooms where you can go in and go in the ice instead of being in those rubber tubs you guys used to have outside, right? Those babies are gone.
So what we had the metal tubs, the kind of like oval shaped like metal tubs that you can get in after practice, and the upperclassmen of course got in there first. After we had to walk around the upperclassmen locker rooms. But yeah, times have changed. There's been a lot of support at the University of Miami to upgrade the facilities, to get the facilities where they are, and and on a national stage now, University of Miami is second place to no one at this particular point.
Yep.
And I'm sure Mario saw some of the other facilities at some of the other places that he's been. He knew that it was time for an upgrade, and I think that they're going to be upgrading even more.
Yeah, they are,
because the University of Miami has shown that if you give the players the proper facilities and nutrition and training staff, that you can actually win national championships and be relevant, like you guys have said.
Yeah, I think Mario is doing exactly what you were saying, and because he's been doing a lot of talking, more than I ever thought he'd be doing. but he seems hell bent on, we haven't done a damn thing. Let's get to practice and let's go all the way this year. I don't think he's taking his foot off the gas, which was a very much of a Jimmy trait, which we all love. I mean, he learned a lot from Saban, so he's got two guys to learn from that are probably the two best ever, or two of the three best ever. So look, as a Canes fan, I'm thrilled about all this. I really, no pun intended, but I'm thrilled about this because it makes you feel good. It just does. We've had all these off seasons, the last game being a disappointment. Even though we lost, I'm not angry. We said it on the show like the next day. I'm not angry. I'm so excited about what this future is going to be and where we are with Mario as the head coach and you guys being around. I love seeing you guys on the sidelines. It's an honor to have everybody. Having you on the show is an honor.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
We've been friends for years.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Thrill, let people know where they can find you on social media. And I didn't realize until when we brought you on, you recently retired from law enforcement. So you got a little more extra time on your hands, Thrill. Let people know where they can find you.
So on Instagram, you can find me at Randall with 1L _Thrill_Hill. And then Facebook is Randall Hill. And then also on Twitter, it's Randall Thrill Hill. But yeah, so I get on social media every once in a while. I'm still an old school guy. I need to step it up a little bit more. I'm still, luckily you sent me a link for this one so that I don't screw it up, right? So
I got to make it very easy for Bruce, so I do the same for you.
So no, but
here we go. If it's not Kelvin Harris putting me down, telling me what did I have? I wake up and I take what? What are those pills?
Geritol?
Yeah, Geritol pills are telling me I take.
No, but we support the University of Miami. My family supports the University of Miami. A lot of people don't know the legacy that I have at the University of Miami goes far beyond anybody who has anybody who has played at the University of Miami. My wife went to University of Miami undergrad and then medical school there. Her name's engraved on the wall outside of the president's office, Phi Beta Kappa, chemistry major. My uncle got his master's degree there. My dad worked in the cafeteria there over near Fraternity Road. My aunt went to University of Miami. My grandmother worked in the cafeteria at the University of Miami. So University of Miami is a mainstay in my family. Hell, I have a cousin, first cousin who went to law school at the University of Miami. And it's funny. I recently had to take my wife to federal court. It was last week because she testifies sometimes in federal court, and she's even though she's short and tiny, she likes to uses big words because it's just her vocabulary, right? Okay. And I try to explain to her that you have to kind of talk on a like a middle school reading level when you're in court. Keep things simple, right? So I took it into federal court, and there's a federal judge there. And as soon as I'm sitting in the back of the court, and because I wanted my wife to watch and see what was going on, the federal judge comes out, and he's first thing this is in open court. He's like, Randall Hill, and then like the jury's there, everyone's there, and he's like, you guys don't understand, my idol's here, one of the University of Miami players. And I'm like, oh my goodness, bro.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, and I remember when he was a assistant United States attorney, and I brought him a couple of cases, and I was kind of seasoned, and he was new as an assistant United States attorney. But so what I'm trying to say is the University of Miami, the legacy, the legend of the University of Miami, it goes far beyond Greentree practice field and far beyond even the stadium, because people in the community, whether it be federal judges or assistant United States attorneys or people in the community, everyone supports the University of Miami, because the University of Miami, historically, when things were going bad in South Florida, whether it be rioting or civil unrest, or everyone put all the nonsense down, and it came to support the University of Miami and the community as a whole, because we were there to help with positivity and winning national championships.
Mm-hmm.
So well
Amen,
said.
brother.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's like if you guys haven't seen, and I'm not just saying this to Bruce and Randall, but to anybody listening to this, late last week I interviewed Richard from Tokyo, who's a Japanese gentleman who has no ties to the university, no ties to the United States, but he's a hardcore Miami football fan in Tokyo. And I interviewed him. Just such a trip, man. The U is really worldwide. Thanks, everyone, for making Locked On Canes your first listen. Huge thank you to Randall Thrill-Hill. It's truly a delight talking to Randall. Huge thank you to the Truth Teller, Bruce Warner, here on this Truth Teller Tuesday. And we'll talk to everybody next time on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the #1 Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.